Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
Brandon Crow watching from Hockey Canada. Writes in and he says, my wife and her two sisters all played NCAA Division I hockey. They attribute it to waiting around that chute as kids and using those prairie oysters as hockey puck. Shooting them for the dog. Here's
Bingo!
one. All the raw testicles that I collected one day, I put them in a margarine container. Remember the old Imperial margarine that had the purple crowns around it? I put them all in there, and I took them to a party, a bush party. You've been there, Moose. You weren't at that one, but you've been to them. And I was going to cook them. I was going to cook them and make people eat them and not tell them what they were till after. But it didn't matter because Philip Kenyon took one, popped it in his mouth, crunched it raw. And he was smiling, and the blood ran down.
And he knew what it was?
I will never forget. He knew what it was. Philip Kenyon.
That was Fear Factor before there was Fear Factor with Joe Rogan.
I know. Beer might have been involved. But the next time that we're driving to Montana, I'll show you exactly where it is, because a lot of stuff went down at that site. A lot of stuff. I'm not going to go any further, but just remind me later. I'll tell you about the bikers that were on their way back from Sturgis from the rally that stopped at our party.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
Do you believe in sports curses? Mike White, who's supposed to be the next big thing with the Jets, goes down in the first quarter, but they're saying there's got to be a curse on the Jets. And our question to you, the viewers, is do you believe in sports curses? Can't make up my mind whether I believe in them or not. Because on one hand, I say the harder you work, the luckier you get. But on the other hand, I'm very spiritual and believe there's a plan and all the rest, so I don't know.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Oh, boy, I hope you're ready for a fantastic weekend, everybody. That's right. I'm wearing it. I'm wearing it. A big old smile. I'm ready for a football Friday with a lot of really kooky things thrown in. I'm in the South Florida studio. Let's bring in the Moose. He's in Toronto. Moose, are you ready to have fun for 2 hours? Or if not longer, but 2 hours here on the RP Show?
Yeah, I'm ready, man. Let's go. I'm ready to have fun and get into the weekend.
Yeah, and we don't have Moose for a long time today. We got a lot of guests. We've got the new/old voice of the Hamilton Tiger Cats of the Canadian Football League, Rick Zamperin, coming up later on in hour one. We've got the head coach of Canada's men's national flag football team, Paul LaPolice, coming up in hour two. He offered to come on. It's given me a great excuse to wear this Football Canada golf shirt that I have yet to put on, Darren, because as you know, you and I are the voices of USA flag football. I can't wait to have our way with Lapo. And those Canadian suckers. It's going to be fun with Lapo in hour two. And CFL on TSN's Jim Barker. Those are the guests. Can you guys hit the quick six show horn, please? And we'll get down to business. We'll get going.
How about that?
I got a little bit of granola bar stuck in my teeth. That's okay. I'll make it through, Moose. Before we get to the big story, my normal quick six show topics, here's the breaking news today. Everybody listen up. And Darren, I want your take on this. I wrote this. ESPN's award-winning reporter Pablo Torres in New York reported Bill Belichick's 24-year-old girlfriend Jordan Hudson has been banned from the University of North Carolina football facilities. That has set the social media and football worlds ablaze. It has also prompted the University of North Carolina to issue a statement Friday morning that the report from Pablo Torres is false and that Jordan Hudson has not been banned from the football facilities. As a matter of fact, she's welcome there anytime. Quite a start to a Friday, Darren. Like literally, and I was listening to WQAM radio here in Miami this morning, and they're talking about this. And they got Florio on, and they're talking about Belichick and his girlfriend and this. I'm like, guys, the Leafs are in town tonight. Okay? It's Panthers-Leafs Game 3, and you want to talk about Belichick and his girlfriend? What do you think about this latest story as we kick off a Football Friday, a zany Football Friday?
Yeah, it's a funny story, but it's a story that's got legs and traction and all the rest, and it's not going to go away because this is not something we've seen from Bill Belichick, having somebody else run his show. He didn't let Robert Kraft run his show in public. He didn't let Tom Brady run his show. He didn't let anybody run his show, but he's letting this young girl run his show. And, crazy. So many things are going through my head right now. But what happens when this story comes down?
Spill them.
Well, you know what? Clark brought it up from our morning meeting in an old episode of The Office where, ban her from the thing, but in public. No, I want you to be here. You come, welcome here. Get her out of here. No, baby, come on, be in the office. It's okay. Why haven't you banned her yet? That's literally what it is. But when this comes out, it doesn't make the university look good because it makes it seem like you got a scandal. So now it comes out, you have to rock it back and say, no, she's not banned, and all the rest. But no matter what, if it's coming out, she's going to feel unwelcome and maybe you're going to get your way anyways. I don't know.
Well, folks, you can have your way with the comments on the streaming chat right in there or the Progressive Insurance text line. It's open now for business, 902-518-3033. And our poll question, before we get serious, if we at all will get serious over the next 2 hours, is, will Jordan Hudson destroy Bill Belichick's legacy? Because that's coming out now. Whether she was banned from UNC or not, the question still applies, I think. Will Jordan Hudson destroy Bill Belichick's legacy? This is the weirdest thing. I'm telling you, everybody's talking about it here because it's America. They don't care about the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's a fact. It's not even football season, but this is what they want to talk about. I'm going to tell you something, Darren. I put this poll on Instagram. I put it on Twitter. Clark's put it on YouTube. Around 60% of people are saying yes, she'll destroy his legacy. But I'm going to tell you right now, it's a no. I'm voting no, and she will not. 6 Super Bowls as a head coach, 2 as an assistant. Bill Belichick, whether he goes to the Hall of Fame or not, I don't know, because the Hall of Fames aren't like what they used to be. His legacy is what it is. She's not going to ruin it. No. What he did on the field is not going to be destroyed, besmirched by what's happening now. That's my take, though. You may not agree. How are you voting?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think it's going to ruin his legacy. Weird Friday, man. What's coming in my head is she just adds more ammo to him being able to coach college football. If these guys don't get in line, he can threaten to go and date their girlfriends. They're all the same age. You better. But anyways, it's just kind of become a circus, a bit of a fun sideshow, and I am not really taking it too seriously.
From the audience, Stacy at Access World headquarters writes in and he says, Jordan makes Belichick even more of a legend. There's that. Carlos in Indianapolis says, for a certain demographic, the Jordan Hudson era will be the only aspect of Bill Belichick that they'll remember. Navy Dawn says, age-appropriate girlfriends, men age-appropriate. Remember that? Nah. Kevin the Medium, they're adults, so they do whatever they want. Kevin the Medium says, good morning, RP peeps. And now as we get ready to get down to business, let me just say this, Darren. Do you know how hot it is in Florida right now? Do you know how hot it is in Florida?
How hot is it, Rod?
How about that?
It's so hot that you're just looking for shade to park your vehicle under. But do you know what happens when you park your vehicle under a tree? Take a wild guess what happens when you park your vehicle under a tree.
That's hot.
2 things. You get sap or bird poop on it.
Yeah. This bird
Spicy.
moved its bowels this morning on the top of my Jeep. And I was like, how big is this bird? And what did it eat? Oh, my God. So people are very jealous that I'll be coming up in a couple of weeks' time back to Canada for the summer. It's so bloody hot. It's unbelievable. But, hey, we're here to talk hockey, even though it's a Football Friday as we get rolling on the Quick Six show topics here. Belichick aside, for those that have just joined us, Rick Zamperin, the new old voice of the Ticats, is going to be with us. Paul LaPolice will be with us today, and Jim Barker. But to hockey, Leon Draisaitl scored in overtime as the Edmonton Oilers beat the Vegas Golden Knights 5-4 to take a 2-0 lead in their second-round NHL playoff series last night. Victor Olofsson and Alex Pietrangelo scored in the third period for Vegas to force the extra session, and Connor McMichael and John Carlson scored. Logan Thompson made 27 saves, and the Capitals beat the Carolina Hurricanes 3-1 in Game 1 of their series last night. And that series is now tied 1-1. The Oilers are up 2-0. In our picks last night, you and I tied 1-1. So we go into the weekend, or at least into tonight's games, me leading you 21-19. But Darren, you've got the Oilers. You've got them pegged. You had them winning these last two games. What are you seeing that I, and more importantly, the Golden Knights, have not seen in the Edmonton Oilers here this series?
Yeah, they're getting some timely saves now from Pickard and from Pickard, and that's good. Timely saves. But they got out to a good start last night, which I thought was good. And yeah, they let the 3-1, and I think it was a 4-2 lead. They let them both slip away, and that's going to happen. Vegas is a good team. They're playing at home, but a resilient group and finding a way to win that in overtime. And McDavid and Draisaitl coming together for the overtime goal, which was good. I thought it was over, though, when they didn't score in the 5-minute power play in overtime. I thought that penalty kill from Vegas was all worldly. And I'm like, this is going to turn the tables in the whole series. And it didn't. It didn't. So hats off to the Oilers last night.
Darren, seeing something, and as you say, goaltending. Calvin Pickard is doing historic things in goal for Edmonton that I didn't see coming. It's like the zaniest Friday ever. The world is off its axis. Somebody was just knocking on the door. I don't know. Did you hear me say I'm on the air? Sorry. I don't know who it was. Carlos in Indianapolis says Rod griping about the heat while wearing a long-sleeve black shirt. Carlos, just worry about yourself, number one.
How about that?
Number two, what the people don't understand is the hotter it is outside in Florida, the colder the AC is inside. So I've been coming indoors. I had a 12-step meeting via Zoom today. I had our staff meeting today, Darren, via Zoom or Google Meet, as you've set up. So I'm inside for that. And it's so bloody cold, I almost had to put on a parka. So just worry about Carlos. Don't worry about what I'm wearing. Jeff the Stamps fan says McDavid is a true superstar. Glad you've noticed, Jeff. Off the Hosels, Drew Koser. Off the Hosels, Drew Koser, the new coach of the Estevan Bruins, writes, and he says, be good to see you when you're back, RP. Thank you, Drew, and congratulations from both of us and the entire RP show on your appointment. Navy Don writes, and he says, this is why the parking lots should have solar panels that you can park your car under. Create power and keep the car somewhat cool. Win-win. I don't know, but I'm getting tired of clearing bird crap off my vehicle. But it's a first world problem, Darren, first world problem. This is the warm-up here. Darren's with us for a good time, but not a long time. Point two, Paul LaPolice has a new coaching gig. The former CFL coach was named head coach of the Canadian men's flag football team on Thursday. Football Canada also announced the appointment of Rachel Lessard as the head coach of Canada's senior women's squad. Flag football will make its Olympic debut in 2028 in Los Angeles. LaPolice has over 20 years of pro coaching experience, having served as head coach of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and the Ottawa Red Blacks. He and I got to be very close friends in his time in Saskatchewan, 07 to 2010, I think. He has most recently worked as a football analyst with TSN. So again, here's an American from New Hampshire coaching Canada's men's flag team. Darren and I, the voices of USA flag football, we're Canadians. It doesn't make sense. It just fits in with this really weird Friday. But Darren, it's in my commentary today. Glad everybody's now catching up that flag football is a thing. You, me, and Serena were on top of that 3 years ago. And Lapo texted me yesterday. He's like, have I heard you guys calling the game? I'm watching these YouTube videos. It sounds like you. Thanks for joining us. It's like Jeff the Stamps fan who just figured out Connor McDavid is the greatest player in the world. We've been sitting here waiting. As my good friend Ricky Williams says, Darren, one thing about being so far ahead of everybody, you just got to sit back and wait for them to catch up. Just chill. So I guess we'll be seeing Lapo at the Olympics.
about
Canada
that?
going to make it? What do you think?
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see what that team looks like and what he does with it. He's got obviously a strong CFL influence and pro football influence and a pipeline to players. So I'm curious to see where it goes. But this is a long process. This is going to be a multi-year process to get there and all the rest. And I'm excited to see what he does with it. Very, very creative offensively. So yeah, I think this is a great fit.
John in Edmonton writes in and he says, Rod, couldn't the Olympic Committee find a coach in Canada to coach Team Canada's flag football? Why couldn't they find anybody? Was nobody available? Moose, are you available? Well, number one, the Moose didn't apply. Number two, again, just worry about yourself. That is the way the world is now. Okay? The voice of the Edmonton Oilers, Jack Michaels, is American. There's a lot of great Canadians doing wonderful things down here in the USA. This stuff doesn't matter anymore. If you're hung up on why can't we have a Canadian coach, then that's a you problem. If you guys aren't interested because there are people writing in going, I don't care about Belichick, then turn off the damn show. Because we're going to talk about what we care about. And we support LaPolice coaching Canada. Darren and I earning paychecks as the voice of Team USA. Didn't see Team Canada doing anything for us. Last I checked, they weren't ringing our phones. USA Football was. Scott Hollandale. Oh, yeah, who was that putting the people on my show at Super Bowl? Oh, yeah, USA Football. Come on, guys. It's like the people going, Bud Light sponsoring the CFL. Couldn't you find a Canadian brewery? Well, where the hell were they? I don't see those Canadian breweries writing checks to the CFL. I see Bud Light doing it. Don't ruin my mood, everybody, but you're damn close. Gary in Winnipeg writes in on the Progressive Insurance text line. He says, I might be a dinosaur, but I have no respect for a 73-year-old Bill Belichick who has a 24-year-old girlfriend who would be the age of one of his grandchildren. I'm sure he is an embarrassment to his entire family. Signed, Gary from Winnipeg, the old fart. Okay, we're going to take a break in about a minute. Everybody needs to reset in the break. Fix your damn energy. Bill Belichick forsaked his family to coach football for the last 50 years. So don't worry about his family. Just worry about your damn selves. Do you have any thoughts, Darren, before I throw this to break and I go and have a little moment? Just to get this people's crappy energy off me, like the bird shit on my car.
I'm just enjoying my coffee, man, and I'm enjoying the conversation. The sun is shining. I hear birds chirping in the background. Nobody's getting me down today.
Dude, say less, as they say, which means say no more. Jason in Red Deer writes that he says, reset and fix your damn energy, people. That includes you, Jason, because I saw your comment that you said you don't care. So maybe start caring. Carlos in Indianapolis says half of that segment was a Rod's rant. Yeah, and I didn't even plan that. Cardinal Ryan writes in, says, good day, Rod Squad. Football Friday is here. Yeah, it's more Belichick Friday than anything. Speaking of the Cardinal, I can't believe how many people are into this Pope stuff. That's kind of cool, too. It's the head of, he's the commissioner of Rome, of the Catholicism, of the Catholic religion. He's the head of it. So I kind of get the people are as much into it as they are. We'll continue this, whatever this is, when we come back on a Football Friday here on Game Plus Television, streaming live and podcasting wherever the best podcasts are found.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit. As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Honky Tonk legend Mark Chestnut. Celebrating 35 years of music. Joined by special guest Aaron Goodvin. June 28th at Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
We're broadcasting from Studio 23, brought to you in part by Canadian Blood Services. Give hope to patients in Canada. Register online at blood.ca/getswabbed and spread the word amongst your family and friends. We can bring the Moose on. He's a big Blue Jays fan. Anthony Santana hit a go-ahead 2-run single during Toronto's 4-run sixth, and the Blue Jays snapped their 4-game losing streak with an 8-5 victory over the LA Angels Thursday night. Dalton Varsho homered and drove in 3 runs on 3 hits for the Jays, who rallied from an early 4-run deficit with 14 hits to avoid the sweep. They are at Seattle tonight to open a weekend set there. We'll get to the NBA later. It is a football Friday. I will say this. Enjoy this Rough Rider shirt that I'm wearing right now because it's my usual sweat gym top. And the warmer that it gets in here, during the sweat's starting to come out and it stinks. I don't think I can wear this on the air anymore. You know what I mean? You know, would you try and wear your gym clothes on the air? Doesn't work. So just saying. What do you wear to work out, Moose?
Yeah, it changes. I like the long sleeve hooded, but the thin long sleeve with the hood on it.
Right.
That's my favorite to work out in, the thin one.
Okay. Rick Zamperin coming up, the voice of the Ticats. Paul LaPolice, head coach of Canada's men's flag football team, and of course Jim Barker. A lot of CFL stuff coming up. I got a few things here that I would like to ask you and the audience as well. Before we get to that CFL stuff later, and largely football, it's a bit of a hodgepodge on Fridays, and it's my show, so I can do what I want. I noticed somebody wrote in here earlier and said, how do we feel about the fact Connor Bedard is not playing for Canada at the Worlds? And you're very into the World Hockey Championship. I'm not. And here's why. Because I know a lot of hockey players. They told me what goes on over there. So when they start taking the tournament seriously, I will. And even Bedard, he declined an invitation to go. Macklin Celebrini is on the team, however. How's it playing in Canada, or does anybody care that Connor Bedard declined an invitation to play for Canada at the World?
Yeah, I've seen a little bit. Like, it doesn't look great, but also I haven't seen a lot. Like, it's not like it's a media storm or he's really getting that much bad press over this. I will say this because they say, well, Nathan McKinnon's going and Crosby's gone, and they've gone in the past, and here's Bedard not going. And I wondered if he would go. I thought maybe he would go, and that him going to the World Championships and having a good World Championship would go a long way to maybe putting him on the Olympic team for Italy in February. But he's not there. We don't know why. We don't know if maybe he's got some, injury we haven't heard about that he's going to heal up from, or he's got some other things going on. Maybe he's got some personal things. Maybe he's got some family stuff that he's got to, deal with, or a wedding to go to, or who knows what he's got to deal with and do. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's a big deal. And let's remember, Crosby hasn't gone every single year that he was eligible to go. Just because he's gone a few times and done really well doesn't mean that Bedard has to go every single time. But we have him under the microscope. So if he doesn't go, we think it's a big deal.
We live in an era of do what's best for you. I am a proponent of you do you. But what I can tell you is when you do what's best for you, it's lonely and it pisses a lot of people off. That's the part they don't tell you about. So I'll be honest, Connor Bedard, you do you. It's very evident Connor has a history of doing what's best for Connor, and so it's what he's doing. I support that. I don't care if he goes and plays for Canada or not, but what I will tell you is Canadians, don't forget. Here's another one. Let's move along to Game 3 tonight. The Toronto Maple Leafs can take a commanding 3-0 series lead over the Florida Panthers with a win here tonight in Sunrise. Later on, the Winnipeg Jets host the Dallas Stars for Game 2 of their second-round series. The Stars are up 1 game tonight. We got to get your picks before we get out of this segment. As a matter of fact, tonight, right now, let's do it right now. I know who I'm going to take to win, so I'm going to write it down, actually. But I'll let you go. I've made my picks in my mind. Who do you have? Leafs at Panthers tonight.
I have I'm going Florida again. I have no idea what's happening in this series. I've been wrong every single time. Not like the Oilers series. I would have thought maybe the series would have been 1-1 coming here, and then I maybe go with Toronto, but I'll go with Florida again.
Panthers for me. Dallas at Winnipeg tonight. Who do you like?
I like the Jets tonight to bounce back and even the series up.
I have the Jets as well. That was easy. We tied last night, Darren and I, 1-1. John in Edmonton says, Rod, are you going to the Florida game tonight? That is a Texas 10-4, good buddy. I will be there. So, a couple things. Fun stuff. Like, I don't know about you, but I am having the time of my life with this playoff series. I don't understand what it is with people, and maybe the old immature me would have done what Leaf fans are doing now. Like, they're people that I don't even know are jumping into the social media feeds of our Cats and Bolts podcast, which I run, with memes of your mascot waving the Leaf flag and, all these things. What are you doing, man? We're a Panthers and Lightning show. Why would you do that? But I'm like, I'm not going to get mad. That really is nothing. The Leaf fans that are writing me, like the Greek Freak and my friend Nick Davis in Toronto, that are literally texting me after games, it's not that big of a deal. But act like you've been there before, guys. It's fun. It's fun. What are you seeing amongst your circle with this Leafs-Panthers series and the funness of playoff hockey?
Yeah, what I'm seeing around here is people are just really happy. And that's a good thing. People are just happy because this hasn't happened. It hasn't happened in a long, long time. This hasn't happened since the late 90s, early 2000s. So I think people are just happy. But also at the same time, for the most part, there's a lot of anxiety because they're just waiting for their hearts to be broken. It's like riding the roller coaster and that anxiety of getting to the top because you're going to drop. It's coming. And that's just what they've been accustomed to. So I like when people are happy. I don't love the people, with the post-game trash talk getting in your phone. That's not good. And I hope that's just a few people that, are in your circle. But around here, I'm just, seeing people that are happy, which I think is a good thing. I want the fan base to be happy.
Regarding the Leaf fans infecting the social media feeds of our Cats and Bolts podcast, John in Edmonton says, it's because the Panthers are playing the Leafs, Rod. What do you expect? LOL. The point is, no other fan base does that. What is it with Leaf fans? You wonder why people don't like you. These are reasons why. Can you stick to yourselves? I don't know if the Panthers are going to come back or not, but no other team's fans do this. And I don't understand what goes on in their noggin. That's all. Trenton Norway writes in, he says, I predict the Leafs and Jets to win tonight. The Leafs are positively different this year, and the Jets should regroup for Game 2 with Dallas. Stay well, everyone. Thank you, Trent in Norway, for tuning us in. Ron in Calgary writes in, he says, loving the Rider shirt. Thank you, Ron. This is on the Progressive Insurance text line. I'll say it again. Don't get too attached. It has an low-key stink to it because it's my normal gym shirt, and I couldn't get that out in the wash. I don't think I'm going to wear it again. I got to get an obsidian green golf shirt this summer. I'll be wearing that on the show. Mike in Edmonton writes, Mike in Crow's Nest, Pass, Alberta is watching on Game Plus TV, and he says, no mention of the egregious non-call on the Oilers Knights overtime. If that was McDavid getting tripped, I suspect it would have been another 5-minute major. Signed, Mike from Crow's Nest. Well, clearly a Flames fan. I saw the trip, and then I saw the comments from, you're talking about the trip on McNabb. Dirty shot. And Bruce Cassidy saying after the game, the ref blew the call. He missed it. What else am I going to say? Darren doesn't like to talk about post-game trash talk. I don't like to talk about officiating. I really don't like talking about officiating because mistakes are going to happen. I don't know what's reviewable anymore or what isn't. The Oilers are coming home 2-0, and Flames fans are crusty about it. That's my read on that. Do you have any thoughts on the officiating last night in the Oilers-Vegas game last night?
Yeah, they don't want to see the Oilers have success, and it drives them nuts. I get that. You don't want your rival fan base to have success and have nice things. If you don't have nice things, you don't want your neighbor to have nice things. That just pisses you off. So I get it. It was a missed call. But for Bruce Cassidy, what's he going to do? Argue about it, get mad, piss and moan? He probably sent an inquiry into the league and say, how come we're not talking about this? What happened? And then you move on because you know what? You missed it and you lost the game. Like that already happened. You're not changing that. So you move on. I thought, when they killed off that 5-minute penalty, that was good enough for the hockey gods, for the Vegas Golden Knights to come back and win that game. And maybe I thought they would get the call, based on a 5-minute major being called. Typically, not that you're looking for non-penalties, but you're looking for an even up call or something to kind of balance the marbles a little bit. And that was the opportunity, and it was missed. It was a non-call, and it did hurt Vegas. Not saying they would have scored, but Edmonton's up 2-0, and then they head home in complete control.
It's what I like about the fact that I don't cheer for any one of the 32 NHL teams. I can be objective about this. It's the fastest game in the world. The refs are right 97% of the time. This was a big miss. Yes, but it happens. Kirk in Toronto writes in. He says, oppressive heat. Is it really any different than extreme cold? Born in Val-d'Or. He's born in Val-d'Or. He says, I would hate being in that sauna. That's why I get out of it. The Floridians are saying to me, we really envy you, Rod, getting to go to Canada for the summer. I'm incredibly happy. But Darren lived in the heat. We talked about this earlier, broadcasting the U.S. National Flag Football Championships. Have you ever, that was hotter in Charlotte, North Carolina, Darren, than it gets here, where your phone just stops working and you're in the shade because it's so in the shade. It gets so hot. Driving around here, I can't be outside. Nobody can be outside long enough. I did a lot of Zoom meetings outside by the pool. I can't do that anymore because it's too hot. So I don't, I don't like minus 40. I don't like plus 40. But I live in a time, and I'm very lucky that I can avoid both. I'm just grateful about it. It's as bad hot here as it is cold in Canada. They both suck. And right now, I don't have to make a choice, and I'm happy about that. Allie in Sherwood Park writes in. She says, happy Friday, RP, Darren, crew, and viewers. Your rider shirt looks great, Rod. Looking forward to CFL starting. We are also very happy with our Edmonton Oilers. Have a great weekend, everyone. Quickly, Darren, what CFL, if any, headlines have caught your eye? Anything here as training camps open this weekend?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's just been all Zach Collaros. It's been all Zach Collaros. And now Paul LaPolice, I consider him coaching the flag team as a CFL headline because of his connections, and I believe he's still going to do the CFL on TSN stuff. So that's what I see, and it's the Collaros stuff and the statement from the Bombers and the PA and the rest.
Okay, my guy. You have a great weekend. Be safe, for God's sakes.
You bet. You too.
Howard in Regina writes in. He says, triple play of interviews. Great way to begin the weekend. They start next. The voice of the Ticats, Rick Zamperin, then Paul LaPolice from Football Canada in hour 2, and the CFL on TSN's Jim Barker. Get ready for it. We'll be back in a moment here on Game Plus TV, streaming live and podcasting wherever the best podcasts are found.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Honky Tonk legend Mark Chestnut. Celebrating 35 years of music. Joined by special guest Aaron Goodvin. June 28th at Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
From cash spiels to grand slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hour one is brought to you by Landmark Cinemas. In Landmark Cinemas now, The Accountant 2, Christian Wolf, applies his brilliant mind and illegal methods to reconstruct the unsolved puzzle of a Treasury chief's murder. Starring Ben Affleck, John Bernthal, and J.K. Simmons, The Accountant 2 in Landmark Cinemas across Canada now. Okay, everybody's excited about this. Let's bring in our good and longtime friend, Rick Zamperin, the voice of the Hamilton Tiger Cats again. Rico, good to see you, my brother. How did this all come about?
It's been too long, number one. Happy to be on the show. Listen, it came about with the Tiger Cats reaching out and saying, hey, you want to do this over again? And I thought about it for a nanosecond, as I've been telling my friends. And I said, absolutely. It's been the highlight of my career when I did it from 07 to 14 and back in the saddle again. And so much looking forward to 2025. And hopefully the Grey Cup curse comes to an end.
Yeah, well, maybe you'll be the guy. Maybe you'll be the reason, man. But, I've always been meaning to ask you. You said you left the booth after 2014. You broadcast the 2013 Grey Cup from the end zone. And I know how much that sucks because I did the 07 Grey Cup from the end zone at Rogers Center. And what was that like? I mean, yes, it wasn't the best game for the Ticats, but that must have been a tough day.
It was a tough day. I mean, it started well. We had a 3-0. The Ticats had a 3-0 lead. Luca Kanji got the Ticats, and then it was over after that, as you know. Corey Sheets and Darian Durant and G. Roy Simon and Weston Dressler, and the list goes on, took over the game. And, from a broadcasting perspective, yeah, we were in the corner of the end zone. And you have no depth perception on how far a pass is thrown or where the people are on the field in terms of have they gained 5 yards? Was that an 8-yard gain? Was that 12? So really 95% of that game I was watching the action, but really looking to my right on the Jumbotron to see what was actually happening. But listen, the atmosphere was phenomenal. The weather was, really bitterly cold leading up to that game, and a couple of Ticats suffered ill effects because of that. But as a whole, game day was, I think, phenomenal. I think that the better team on the day certainly won in that game. And I remember after the game, and as you know, it's pretty tough to get a taxi cab after a Rough Riders game to begin with on a normal game day. Times that now by a Grey Cup experience, and Coach Sal, my color analyst, John Salavanis, and I looked at the mammoth of humanity before us in primarily green and white and thought, there's no way we're getting a cab. So we walked back to the hotel, and I think it took us like an hour to get there. But we had a great time. Regina was a great host.
Yeah, well, hey, you and Sal, just great people. I got to tell you that it really made me feel good to see that you were back in the booth. Just listening to your voice, man, it's time for the drought to end. There's no doubt. Tony writes in from Cochrane, Alberta. He says, Oski, way. He says, Dad was from Hamilton, and they are my favorite Eastern team. Gotta love Angelo Mosca, etc. Give me a prognostication, if you don't mind, or an outlook for the Ticats, Rick, this year, if you don't mind.
So listen, going into last year, I knew there would be some growing pains, especially on the defensive side of the football, because you looked at the roster from 2024 defensively compared to 2023, and there was two guys, Casey Sales and Stavros Katsantonis, who were starters in 2023 and again in 2024. Those are the only starters that returned to that 2024 squad. So when you look at defensively now, you see some names that made an impact last year and they're going to do so this year, whether it's Jamal Peters, Reggie Stubblefield coming over from Montreal, Sales is back. It looked like, the draft and free agency was kind to them in terms of, stocking the shelves on the defensive side of the football. Offensively, we know they can score points. They did so last year, especially in the second half. And not only did they score points in the second half, they limited turnovers in the second half of the season. That was primarily the reason why they went on a great run down the stretch and made the Eastern Division playoff race, very interesting. And from a special team standpoint, started very slow, made a change in the coaching ranks and brought in Dennis McKnight. That has certainly been an improved unit. So going into this season, I think there's a lot more confidence in terms of where this team can go from here. They laid the foundation last year. There were some growing pains, certainly in starting 2-9. You look at the schedule, a lot of Fridays and Saturdays. There's some, good time to rest and rehab in between games. There's not a lot of short stays. They got a couple. The coaching staff primarily is all back. Brett Monson is a newcomer in terms of being the defensive coordinator. Of course, Teddy Govaya, the GM, setting the tone coming over from Winnipeg, but very familiar with this area, growing up in the Hamilton-Burlington area. I think there's a lot more confidence, as I said before, going into this season, realizing that there's another level or maybe two that this team can get to on all three facets of the game. Now they got to do so when it comes to playing the games.
Should my buddy Bo Levi have been named most outstanding player in the CFL last year? He led the CFL in passing, as you know, on a last-place team.
I voted yes for Bo Levi, and that's not to take anything away from what Brady Oliveira did. And he had an outstanding campaign, but I went about it in two facets. Number one, when you compare Oliveira's season last year to 2023, it wasn't as good, especially in the touchdown category. Bo Levi went from, an injury-plagued 2023 to being an all-star in 2024, leading the league in passing yards, touchdowns, setting a franchise record, a Ticats franchise record for passing yards in a season. I know he was benched, and Taylor Powell came in and got hurt in that game very early on, and Bo Levi comes in, and the rest is history in terms of the success he had in the second half. But I thought he did well and was so much better than all the other quarterbacks, at least statistically. We're not talking wins and losses, of course, and that, I think, was the big bugaboo when it came to the voters. But when he was asked to do something, Bo delivered more often than not in the clutch, especially from August on.
I couldn't agree more. Could not agree more. By the way, sorry, Tim Hortons Field, which I know they don't call it anymore, but it opened in 2014, didn't it, Rick?
Correct. Yes, Labor Day 2014.
Okay, so you've called games there then?
Yes.
Yeah, they're going to be filling that sucker again this year. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, listen, and now it's called Hamilton Stadium. They are working on a sponsorship package for a corporate naming rights deal, and that I'm assuming is going to be announced sometime soon. If you've never been to Tim Hortons Field, it is an awesome place to watch a football game because, you can buy a seat and sit in it, but, they have booths on the concourse. They have lounge or social areas in both end zones. They have a lot of activities for all ages, whether you're a youngster or someone who's been to many football games previously. There's something for everyone. They boost the concession stands in terms of the quality of the food and drinks that they're serving as well. Great partnerships locally. There's not a bad seat in the house. You're not as close to the action as you were at Ivor Wynn, where you were right on top of the field, basically. But it's a great place to watch a game. The scenery around it with, the steel mills and the escarpment, and on a great summer day or maybe in a November playoff game, it's going to be, once again, a great place to be broadcasting Tiger Cats football.
I certainly always enjoyed my times there as well. Rico, good to see you back. I'll just say congratulations for what it's worth from this show. Thanks for the time, and hopefully we can do it again soon.
Appreciate it. Can't wait to get started on the Ticats audio network, and best of luck going forward for you guys.
Thank you, pal. Have a good weekend. Rick Zamperin, the voice of the Hamilton Tiger Cats on the Ticats Audio Network. Mini Overtime is next. Sports update and what you'd like to talk about. 902-518-3033. We are live on Game Plus TV. Streaming live and podcasting wherever the best podcasts are found.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
From cash spiels to grand slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
We call it mini overtime, but it's actually not that many. 5.5 minutes, producer Clark tells me, as we broadcast from Studio 23. And just wait. Ta-da! A quick wardrobe change. I had to do it. I was wearing a Riders shirt. I told everybody, enjoy it while it lasted. I just couldn't do it any longer because it's I wear it in the gym. I've sweat gallons in that thing. And I couldn't get the stank out. Oh, my God. So I just had to do a quick switch. Football Canada's Paul LaPolice is joining us next. But my guy, Chris from the Bronx, the reason I break this up, he's watching right now. Chris from the Bronx. He texts me, he says, is the Rough Rider shirt a white signal? White smoke has emanated from the Vatican, signifying they have decided on a new pope. I can't believe the furor that has surrounded the announcement, the anointment of Pope Leo, as he would prefer to be called. Uncle Leo. So no, there's no signal. There's nothing. It's Football Friday. I've been waiting for a reason to wear the Rough Rider shirt, but I just can't. And it's on me as usual. I just got to get some new gear this summer. And we got a Football Canada. This is a brand new shirt. I'm kind of digging it. Of all things, the Florida marketing company, Whole Life, the Whole Life clothing brand, they're the ones that did this. Big football people. Okay, Heavy Jim sports update. Julius Randle had 24 points and 11 assists to help the Minnesota Timberwolves capitalize on Warriors star Steph Curry's absence in a 117-93 victory over Golden State. The second-round NBA playoff series is now tied 1-1. Meanwhile, the Toronto Blue Jays continue a 6-game roadie. When they start a 3-game series with the Mariners in Seattle tonight, the Blue Jays beat the LA Angels 8-5 last night to avoid a sweep. Kevin Gausman starts tonight for the Jays. And then I've just got written Centennial Cup. So here's what's going on at the Max Bell Center in Calgary. Last night, the host Canucks beat Melfort 3-1. Edmundston from the Maritimes Hockey League beat Rockland 4-3. And it was Trenton over Northern Manitoba 5-4. Today, it's Cam River versus Trenton, Valleyfield, Quebec versus Rockland, and Sudbury, it's a Sudbury Friday night, versus Grand Prairie. So come on, Calgary, get out there and fill that barn. Estevan filled theirs. I don't think Portage filled theirs. I was watching very closely. But I get it. It's bigger in the smaller. It's bigger in the smaller centers. You know what I mean. Great hockey, $25 a game. I looked it up. The sports headlines are brought to you by Heavy Gym. Heavy Gym isn't just about lifting weights. It's about lifting your spirit, your strength, your potential. Step into the gym that's changing lives. Find out more at heavygym.ca. 902-518-3033 is the Progressive Insurance text line. Switch to Progressive and you could save a bunch. Leafs, Panthers here tonight. Brian in Hudson's Bay writes in, he says, according to Moose, the Leafs are going to lose this series 4 straight. That reverse psychology is working. Why change? I know what you're saying. Darren has picked the Leafs to lose every single game in this series. And he's very happily. I've picked the Panthers to win every. I'm switching my pick. Can I do that?
Oh, no.
No. I fully believe the Panthers will win tonight. And listen, while I'm into this spiritual thing and everything, what I think isn't going to affect what's going to happen. Come on. You almost had me, Brian. No, I'm sticking with the Panthers to win. But that's what Moose is doing. It is, you're right, reverse psychology there. Gary in Winnipeg writes in, he says, Rod, the goalie guy, it seems that all NHL goalies use a curved goalie stick. I understand it would help them when they make a forward pass. However, it is tougher for them to make a backhand pass. You see goalies mishandle pucks, which result in a bad goal. Have a sound effect ready for this, Clark, please. He says, also, I would think that a curved stick is a serious disadvantage when using the stick to cover up the 5-hole shots. I also would think a straight stick would be better when attempting a poke check. Any thoughts, Rod? Signed, Gary from Winnipeg, the old dinosaur. Doug Sauter invented the curved goalie stick with the Estevan Bruins back in the day. And when his coach, Ernie Punch McLean, asked him, why do you need a curved goalie stick? Doug said, it's easier to dig the puck out of the net with.
How about that?
I was thinking, Paul LaPolice and Jim Barker coming up next hour. Hope you're having a great Friday, because we are. We'll be right back here on Game Plus and the streams.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Honky Tonk legend Mark Chestnut. Celebrating 35 years of music. Joined by special guest Aaron Goodvin. June 28th at Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Do you believe in sports curses? Mike White, who's supposed to be the next big thing with the Jets, goes down in the first quarter, but they're saying there's got to be a curse on the Jets. And our question to you, the viewers, is do you believe in sports curses? Can't make up my mind whether I believe in them or not. Because on one hand, I say the harder you work, the luckier you get. But on the other hand, I'm very spiritual and believe there's a plan and all the rest, so I don't know.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
It's a zany time to be alive. Happy Football Friday, everybody. Look, it's hour 2. Moose won't be back. We've been coming in hot with a lot of topics today. We just did a wardrobe change. I opened the program wearing this, but I couldn't wear it any longer. It's my normal sweat top. I just couldn't get the stank out of it. So I switched over to Football Canada, and in a minute you're going to see why. Darcy in Grand Prairie writes in, he says, Taylor Swift has nothing on you when it comes to wardrobe changes in the middle of a show, right? And Brent from Wellington, Florida, who I will be going to the Panthers and the Leafs Game 3 tonight with, is written in. He goes, hey, I just joined. Anything I missed? Go back to the start of hour 1. A lot of Stanley Cup playoff talk, Brent, and also Bill Belichick, Jordan Hudson talk. That's our poll question. Will the 24-year-old girlfriend of Bill Belichick destroy his legacy? 60% of you were saying yes, it will for EMJ marketing. I'm saying no, not after 6 Super Bowls as a head coach and 2 more as an assistant. But anyways, let's bring him in. Hey, he likes the talk. I can tell. Paul Lapp. I know the guy. I could tell by his laugh. You like the Belichick story, eh, Lapo?
I like the, how about that? I like that little sound effects.
Okay, good. Hey, congratulations on the hire, Lapo. And if you don't, for those that don't know, if you give me 10 seconds, I'll read this. This from the Canadian Press. Paul LaPolice has a new coaching gig. The former CFL coach was named head coach of the Canadian men's national flag football team Thursday. Football Canada also announced the appointment of Rachel Lessard as the head coach of Canada's senior women's squad. Flag football will debut in the LA Olympics in 2028. And the fun caveat of this is I'm the voice of USA flag football, which Lapo just discovered yesterday. We're rivals again, Lapo. How about that?
Yeah, pretty well. I guess 2 weeks ago, I was watching some USA. I've broken down all the USA football games, and I was listening on. I'm like, there's Rod's voice. Rod's covering it for him, so that's excellent. And you did a great job. You know everybody, all the guys, and it's pretty cool to listen to.
Thank you, man.
So
what have you learned?
Oh God, like I got a lot to learn. So it's just a different game. So understanding, I can recognize, that's the same as what we run in the Canadian Football League here, but there's so much situational stuff like, hey, get out of bounds before you cross the midline, get a new set of that before, get a couple free plays. And there's so many things that I'm going to be able to build football plays, but just learning the game. And that's what I've been doing. I've talked to Mason Nyhus, former Saskatoon quarterback who now coaches for the Saskatoon. He played for the world team. I had a good conversation with him yesterday. I've been talking to people as well as studying and watching film. And now this is a pretty cool opportunity. A couple of months ago, Kevin McDonald, who I knew from the league office, who runs Football Canada, said, would you be open to helping us hire our head coach in men's and women's flag for the Olympics? And I said, sure. I'm coaching my son's flag team. It'll be my second year. I'd be interested. And then 2 days later, I was like, hey, how do I go to the Olympics? How can I be on the staff? He's like, well, why don't you apply? And I didn't think too much about it. But then talking to some people, I talked to somebody who really, he kind of convinced me that I'd be good for the job, because I said, well, there's other guys who know flag and I don't have the experience others do. But his point was, we believe eventually there'll be NFL players, CFL players as part of this process. And if that's the case, the person told me, he's like, you're going to have a level and experience these guys are used to, and a way of doing things compared to somebody, who is a youth flag football coach or person. As soon as they said that to me, I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. I did more research. I had an interview with TSN, or I spoke to my bosses at TSN, said, listen, is it okay if I miss 2 weekends? And they said, no, we're on board. We want you to go after it, go hard. And I really thank my TSN friends, because now they have to double duty one weekend while I'm gone, but they were all on board for it. So yeah, so we interviewed and then I got the job. So I'm pretty excited.
Nelson in the Queen City writes in, he says, Lapo is an excellent choice to lead the men's flag football team into the Olympics. I couldn't agree more. No, it warmed my heart when I saw that news yesterday, Lapo. John Ohm in Winnipeg says, congratulations, Lapo. Well-deserved, bro. Brent from Wellington, Florida writes in, he says, excited to watch flag football at the Olympics in this house. His kid, RJ, is one of the best flag players here in South Florida. I'm not joking. I've watched him live. Now, I'm not sure what you saw on YouTube, Lapo, but we filled the USA Performance Center in Charlotte, North Carolina for for USA Mexico. And the head coach of the USA men's team live at halftime said on our broadcast on the Olympic Network, this is totally different than tackle football. Okay, guys that come in and play tackle their whole life think they can just dominate, and they don't. You've obviously picked that up because you're a smart guy. Can you explain that to our viewers?
Well, first of all, there's so many different variables, like the rush. There's a person who rushes the quarterback. Everyone's like, well, get a really fast guy and let him go chase the quarterback down. Well, yeah, but that person can't be a straight line speed guy. He's got to be able to move left and right and have the ability to do that. The rosters are so small. If there's an injury or two, you're playing on both ways, which really doesn't happen in tackle football. The receivers, they're talented receivers, but like I know the United States, the kid number 14 for the United States, you may know his name. He's basically a quarterback who plays receiver. So you can lateral to another quarterback and he can throw it. And that's part of the game the United States does. So you need guys, I think, I don't want to say maybe are less specialized, more just great athletes who can do a number of things. I believe the quarterback for the United States, like he can run the ball very well and he can throw it. They have a big wide receiver who can go up and catch the football. So certainly with a much smaller field, the field's only 5 yards wide. It's harder to outflank people. It's harder to do things. It's if the ball's in the air too long, DBs are going to pick the ball off because they don't have to close as much ground. So yeah, there's a lot of different nuances with this football game, and I'm going to be learning it. This is early in the process. I'm going to be learning it to try to catch up to the others.
I know fans are really going to like it. Wayne in Victoria, BC writes in, he says, congrats, Lapo. You're a great choice for coach of Team Canada. Utah Darren writes in, he says, flag football in the Olympics will pick up like 3-on-3 basketball, which had a few NBA players in the last Olympic Games. Jeremy in Winnipeg says, so is this CFL Canadians or NFL Canadians making the team? Because, Lapo, obviously, I'm more USA football guy. Scott Hollandale is their president. We're good friends. The second they announced it in the Olympics, NFL guys were like, I want to play. And I'm sure you're maybe getting the same thing in Canada. I'm not sure. Can you talk about that? Will pros be considered?
So, first of all, I don't have a lot of information of what's going to happen. Here's what I do know. I do know the NFL is not playing they're not playing football games when the Olympics happen. So I think that makes it a little bit easier. What I've heard is the NFL wants to be involved to get their players involved with that. From a CFL standpoint, it will be different because the CFL teams will be in season. So I don't know. That's for the league to work through. The ownership, are they going to allow these 2 weeks players to leave their contract to go play? Are certain players going to be on a bye week? I have no idea. I mean, that's something that obviously the league, the presidents have to work out what they want. I would think it'd be a great thing to have Canadian football players that play in the Canadian Football League on the world's biggest stage. But I also understand an owner might be like, well, I don't want to really lose my quarterback for 2 weeks or my receiver for 2 weeks when I'm in the heat and battle to win the West or the East. So, they'll have to work through that. It'd be great to see, though. It'd be great to see some of the best from both leagues.
The viewers are they're popping off. They love this. Jason in Red Deer writes in and he says, this is an amazing chat with Lapo. I didn't realize the different rules. Now, so just hang on. It's like everybody thinks I just came to Florida and was hanging out on the beach. Paul, you've known me a long time. I've been boots on the ground here for like 4 years. So at Super Bowl, when I was with the USA football people in Vegas 2 years ago, I put that question to them. Will you have NFL players on Team USA? Scott Hallandale, the president of USA Football, said, we're going to have tryout camps, and they're welcome to come try out. That's all I can say. And Lapo, you've been in Canada a long time. We've been going through this with hockey, like the pros versus the amateurs for the Olympics and international competition. You got guys on Team USA that'll be pissed off if Tyreek Hill comes and plays. So I think that is like they're current members of the team, and that's been going on in hockey for decades.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the success Team USA has had for a number of years is amazing. And those players are still playing. Those players are young enough. They can play in the Olympics, and they're very talented and good at what they do. So sometimes, I have no idea what that looks like. Are you bringing a couple of players in for 3 weeks? They get ready to play. They may not have some of the skills and pick it up as quickly or have the repetitions that some of the guys at the USA team. So I'm sure, teams will be very protective of the talented players to just say, hey, we'll just take this guy and let him go start and after a week of practice.
Well, here's the thing, Lapo. I know you. You're gonna want to win. So in your mind, are you thinking retired Canadian CFLers, NFLer, or young guys coming out of high school? This must have crossed your mind what your roster makeup will be.
Yeah, so what's going on is since January, Football Canada has been evaluating. They've had evaluation camps across the country. Right now, we have 33 guys that are targeted. That will be Thursday, May 22nd, 3rd, 24th in Montreal is our final ID camp, where we go from the 35 or whatever we end up having to 12. So these are players that have CFL experience. There's players that have no CFL experience, have been playing flag football. So we're going to try to find the best 12 for offense, defense, and a quarterback to make sure we can go. And then this is, year one for us of really kind of building this from the ground up, or at least for me. And then January, February next year, we're going to see who else is available. And there is some great Canadian Football League players that are in the draft this year that, they might fit our league great or this team great, but they're trying out for CFL teams. So you have to kind of mix in some guys that are retired, some guys who are just out, And that's what I would recommend. And I'll push that. If anybody's interested, if you've played in the Canadian Football League, if you played U Sports in the last 5 years or so, and you're a defensive back or a wide receiver, please reach out, go to Football Canada, and we'll still take players for that last combine. So if they want to try out and be part of it, we'll take a look at them.
Cardinal Ryan in Saratoga, New York writes, and he says, I'm looking forward to flag football in the 2028 games. Heck, I hope to be there to cover it. On the flip side, Tony in Cochrane, Alberta writes, and he says, sorry, losing my interest in the Olympics. What's next? Croquet? Lawn darts? Give me a break. Tony, it's sad you feel that way, but that's also fine. I'm a you do you guy. If you don't want to get into it, don't. But I'll ask you this. Can you give it a try? Because that's where I got into lacrosse, and some of the leagues were like, Rod, just come out and try it. Just watch it. And I got hooked on lacrosse. You'll get hooked on flag football. I don't think, Lapo, people understand, number one, how entertaining it is, and certainly how big it is. If you don't want to give it a try, don't. But what I'll tell you is you're missing out, because it's entertaining as hell. It's entertaining. It's what we want.
A lot of touchdowns, a lot of scoring, balls in the air. You know, obviously they don't run the football. Like, the field being smaller allows you, it's only 50 yards long. It allows you to put the ball in the end zone and plenty of opportunities. So it's an exciting game. It's like anything else. It just needs more. It needs more exposure and more things to happen. Look at, I didn't think there'd be a pickleball station on cable. There's a pickleball station on cable nowadays. So it just needs more exposure.
Jeremy in Winnipeg says football is football. John in Winnipeg says, would Rourke be the Canadian quarterback? Curtis or Nathan, I think, would be playing in 2028. I wonder if Brandon Bridge is still in shape. Oh, he'd be a good flag football quarterback. He would be a great flag football quarterback, Lapo. Hey, listen, your staff, you said you need to start assembling some guys. What do your staff look like?
We'll probably make some announcements next week of staff. The nice thing is Saskatchewan's been a hotbed of football, the last flag football. Quebec's done very well too, Ontario, but there's going to be a Saskatchewan component to our staff. And I've been talking to a bunch of guys out of there, and they've really been helpful. So, yeah, we'll have a staff of 2 guys plus a bunch of guest coaches. That's the nice thing. I've had so many people in the flag community who said, hey, whatever I can do to help out, can I help out? They're pretty excited about flag being an Olympic sport. And I'm humbled by this opportunity. And at first I wasn't sure about it. And I was like, no, this is a great opportunity. To me, as somebody who spent my career in Canada, who has, had such a good relationship with the football community, not just at the CFL level, the U Sports level or in the high school level, I just really think this is a great opportunity for me to give back and hope we can build something that continues to go. We want this to be, it would be great for us to streamline everything across the country. This is how we do our 5-on-5. This is how this is how our eval camps go. And hopefully I can kind of impart some of that professional expertise of doing those type of things.
You are a New Hampshire guy coaching Team Canada. I'm from Milestone, Saskatchewan, population 640, the voice of USA flag football. It's a crazy world. Yeah. You're a busy guy, Lapo. Keep in touch. Congratulations, my man. Good to see you.
Thanks, Rod. Take care.
The CFL on TSN's Jim Barker joins us next to talk about all things football. We'll be right back here live on Game Plus Television, streaming live and podcasts wherever the best podcasts are found.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
From cash spiels to Grand Slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
Shania Twain.
Let's go, girls.
Live in Moose Jaw. Shania Twain. One incredible show. Live at Temple Garden Center, July 7th. With special guest, Lindsay L. Get tickets Friday, March 21st at 10 a.m. at the Temple Garden Center's box office or sasktix.ca. For more, visit shaniatwain.com.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit. As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hour 2 continues, brought to you by EMJ Marketing. Transform your audience with powerful presentations from EMJ Marketing's elite speakers. Check out their website for more information at emjmarketing.com. We keep on rolling. We keep on rolling. From Paul LaPolice now to Jim Barker from the CFL on TSN. Hey, Coach, 1 week ago, you said CFL rookie camps are opening up and training camps next weekend, and here we are. You said we'll have lots to talk about. So what's top of mind for you as the offseason is officially behind us?
Well, because of Lapo's thing, obviously top of mind is, what does the CFL do? Do they, I think this is a once-in-a-lifetime thing, and having CFL players play in that, I think is as good for the CFL as anything. And what you do is you do your draft, everything early before the NFL draft. There was 11 players that were affected by free agency or what, going to go to a rookie mini camp this weekend that were in the draft. Now, if you did the draft early, you might lose a couple of those guys who won't sign, and you'll go to training camp, and then you just take that break. You take a 3-week break where those guys can play in and be like Lapo said, it's the biggest stage in the world. That's going to help the CFL in my view. And you adapt them to some things, you make some changes, you take a little bit of a chance. And that would be my starting point. But then we have Zach Collaros. I can't believe nobody has brought him up on your show here, because that, again, when I first saw it, and I brought Zach in the league, and he's he's as good a young man as there is out there. He's done nothing but fabulous things for this league. I've been in the league 28 years. I've never heard this rule invoked. I've heard that I knew that they call players and things along those lines.
Can I pause you?
Oh,
can I pause
please.
you just for a sec? Just tell the viewers what it is Zach Collaros, I say, is arguably the face of the league, has been suspended 1 game for not returning the messages of the Center for Canadian Sports Ethics for drug testing. They gave him 2 hours, oh my God, to return a text or a phone call. And when it was 24 hours he didn't, they suspended him 1 game. It's supposed to be 2 because of extenuating circumstances, the league said they reduced it to 1. Okay, continue. Sorry.
Well, and the
just telling everybody.
extenuating circumstances, they're changing the rule so that now, because in the past, they couldn't call the team. I mean, I've been in this league, like I say, a long time. And getting a hold of players in the offseason, if you think that's easy, especially these guys that go back to the U.S., they change phone numbers 5 times. I mean, that's the norm. I don't answer calls from numbers that I don't recognize. Every time I've gotten a call from the league office, it's always been on a number I don't recognize. Again, did he not see it? Who knows what? But Zach Collaros is not the guy who's going to avoid a drug test. He lives here in Aurora. He could have driven to the CFL office. Again, if it just would have gone and, okay, this is what happened, we need to adjust this rule. But why penalize the fans? And that's what you're doing when you're taking the premier player in the league. He's been to 5 straight Grey Cups. He's done so much for this league that he doesn't ever get paid for. He goes out and does a ton of things. And now you're going to go and you're going to take 1/18 of his paycheck and basically and punish him for what I think was a flaw in the system. Now, again, that was done a while ago. The Players Associations complain about it, but they're the ones who agreed to do that to say if a player doesn't return in the offseason. So, again, I think it's a screwed up thing. I believe if he cut it from 2 to 1, he could have cut it to nothing, to no penalty, and I think it would have looked better on the league than taking the best premier player in your league and saying he's not going to play the first week because we're going to make a statement. About what? About what? It's crazy.
Well,
so that's the
and I'm the same. Like, I'm sitting there going, there must be more to the story. What am I missing? The viewers are now going crazy on this. John in Winnipeg says the Zach incident is laughable. BS. Jason in Red Deer says, for not returning a text, phone call, and email? The dude must have been out of service area. Email got lost in junk. Jeremy in Winnipeg says, that's wild. It's the off season. People are busy. Life, family. That's what Jim just said. Now, let me take one step further. I'm going to ask what you know about this, because I don't know. Would this come from the commissioner's office, or is it the head of officiating that hands out these suspensions? I've never really known. Like, I would assume Randy Ambrosi was dropping the hammer on the Chad Kellys of the world and the Garrett Marinos, right? Would Stuart Johnston be comfortable? You know him, like,
well, he would be
involved.
He would be involved. He would be involved in it without question, because it was cut from 2 games, which is what it says in the thing, that if they don't return the call within 2 hours, and they can't get a hold of them, and they're not allowed to call the team. That's what they're going to change. Like, if they call Mike O'Shea and say, "Hey, Osh, we need to get a hold of Zach, and you have him give us a call. We can't tell you why, but just have him give us a call." He'd get a hold of Zach in 2 minutes. I promise you. But they weren't allowed to do that because of confidentiality or whatever. It just, to me, it was a stupid thing that the Players Association agreed to, and that the CFL, in terms of the actual punishment, it comes from the commissioner's office. And, there's some tough decisions. I thought the whole Darian Newell situation, a guy who I had in my mock draft for him to be picked third overall. They chose, he tested positive, and they knew it prior to the draft and told the teams, but didn't make it public. Well, during the draft, Dave Naylor comes up to me and says, "Hey, you know that Verisuk, if he was 1,000 to 1 to be taken in the top 5 picks." So there's people gambling on this stuff. Now, if you want to be big time league and you want to have gambling on your draft, which the NFL draft this year had record numbers gambled on it. I mean, it's a gambling thing. Where is a certain guy going to go, and is he going to be in the top 5? I mean, I know Rashad Jeanty falling to 6 made MGM a ton of money. They said that was their number one thing, was when he fell out of the top 5. And so my point is that if you want to run with the big dogs and you want people to gamble on your sport, talk about it in the off season, to be a topic at the water cooler, then you need to be completely transparent. And for them to know that, and again, they claim that it was privacy issues. I mean, I found out, people in the CFL never told me. I found out from a friend of mine in the NFL. And again, they find out this stuff and they said, well, we didn't want it to get out because it might hurt. And they come out the next day and do it. Well, if I'd have had money on Darian Newell to be in the top 1,000, and I'd have bet it because I'm trying, I'm following the CFL and that kind of, I would be pretty angry about that. So I think
this
the CFL needs
this
to
is a
figure
guy,
out,
everybody, who failed several drug tests or had several drugs in his illegal drugs in his system. But the teams were told, the fans weren't. And he was still going to be eligible for the draft.
He's out for a year. He's out for the year.
Right.
He was drafted 12th overall by Edmonton. But my point is if you're going to be a big-time league, then do things in a big-time manner. Let me ask you this. If Tom Brady would have not returned phone calls on a drug test, do you think the NFL would have suspended him for a game?
Oh, my God. What a topic. Because his cell phone was subpoenaed in the Deflategate scandal, and he ended up being suspended for 4 games.
For the Deflategate.
Yeah, well, it's funny because Nelson writes in, to paraphrase, Nelson says, it sets the tone, is what it does. Even Zach isn't safe. Do you think this was a message to all players that if we can suspend Zach Collaros, we can suspend you? That it was a message to everybody?
Again, because it was Zach, I don't know that. I don't know. Like I say, I've been in this league 28 years. I've never heard this ever happen. I mean, I've heard a lot of things happen. I've never heard of a player on this drug thing. Now, I don't know how long the rule has been there. I don't know how long, whether it was at the last CBA it was put in or if it was before that. I've talked to some players since. They said, yeah, guys get called all the time. And if they don't pick it up, they call somebody else. Nobody ever knows about it. They said that's the way it works normally. They've never turned anybody in and actually done a suspension. So again, Stu Johnson did what he's supposed to do. The league said 2 games. He said, well, that's a little harsh because we're going to change the rule because it's a bad rule and blah, blah, blah. So he cut it to 1. My point is why do it at all? But again, that's the kind of things that, you're right. Tom Brady did get the Deflategate, and that's a little different though. That's out and out cheating.
Sure,
and
it's a lot different.
And
it's a lot different.
What Zach did was the league basically didn't get their job done in contacting him, and he's paying the price for it. That's the way I look at it.
Your brother, and by the way, you and I agree. Write it down. May 9th, 2025. Jim Barker and I agree. That's rare. John, your brother, says no way. And if they did, Brady would probably fight it legally. He says, can Collaros appeal? Can he? I'm about done with this story because I do want to move on. Apparently he addressed it, and I think he said that he would have accept the punishment and move on or something.
Yeah,
and that's exact way. He's a pro.
They dropped it. That's
he's a
him.
pro.
That's the way he does it. Okay, now to some camps.
I've
been up at the up at the East West, been around, have a little bit of news. Go ahead.
Oh, hey, drop the news. Drop the news. Go ahead.
All right.
No, go ahead.
I believe Chad Kelly is going to open the season on the 6-game injured list. He threw yesterday, didn't feel great. I just believe he'll be on the 6-game list to start the season. I don't believe he'll be in the lineup, still recovering from that ankle injury. The guy that the Toronto Argonauts traded Daniel Adeboboye for, Andre Carter, who was a Neglis player from Ottawa, that guy decided he's not going to play anymore. He's coaching. He took a high school job, so he did not show up to camp. So basically, Daniel Adeboboye was given to Ottawa, which is sad. I mean, I was surprised he was traded for a Neglis player. Let's see, there was one other. Yeah, that was it. And then, like I say, Toronto. They're the team I kind of saw. They have a right tackle stepping in for John Allen, who they traded to BC, a guy named Jean Delance, who was in BC and Saskatchewan. So, but he looks good at right tackle to fill a huge hole that the Argos have. So that's my up-to-the-minute date on Argos. Are the only one I've been to. Hamilton didn't practice today, so I'll go see them here Sunday.
I know I was going to say fired up, but it's straight fire. That's what you guys have popularized there. Brent in Wellington, Florida writes in. Brent from Wellington, Florida. We're going to the Panthers-Leafs game tonight. He says, I'm enjoying the fired up Jim Barker. He says it like it is. Yes, he does. That's why he enjoys coming on this show. Can you say this like it is, Jim? From the audience, Jeremy wants to know, are the Rough Riders the best team in the CFL West?
Wow. Well, I will say Fraser Sopik retired, which hurts Calgary badly. They trade Cam Judge. They signed Fraser Sopik to a lot of money to start at linebacker. So I think Calgary, again, they have Vernon Adams. I think they're going to struggle. Edmonton has a Trey Ford, who's a brand new quarterback. The whole Nathan Rourke, how he's going to fit in with Buck Pierce and things like that, a lot of question marks. And Winnipeg, even with Zach, even when they have Zach all the time, they've undergone a ton of change. Their offensive line's different. Their defense, they've shown signs. Last year they started out real slow. I think that could happen again this year. I would say Saskatchewan is going to be to the team to beat. Here's my problem with Saskatchewan. Is can Trevor Harris stay healthy for a season? I don't know why. You watch him and you just think, is the next play the one where he's going to get hurt? And I hope he doesn't. I think Trevor's a great player. But he has shown he can't, he has had trouble since he's been in Saskatchewan getting through the season. If they can keep Trevor Harris healthy. Now, I know that they went and signed Mayer, and he's going to be their backup. And, he's got a history with Mark Mueller. So that's good, because I do believe that Mayer can be a great player eventually. But I worry about their quarterback situation. But other than that, I think they've strengthened their team all the way across. I like a lot of the things that they've done. The young guy they got in the draft, Ollie Saad, I think is going to be a really good addition for them as an interior defensive lineman. So I like what they've done. And so I do think that they're going to be the team to beat. I do think that Edmonton has so many question marks. But it's exciting to watch because we don't know what's going to happen out there. What's Nathan Rourke and Buck Pierce? What's that marriage going to be like? I mean, is he the type of quarterback that Buck Pierce wants? No, you don't.
They never know. Not in the West. Bud Grant always said the most interesting division in football, period, is the CFL West. Can you real briefly answer this question from Nelson? He says, can you take us behind the curtain on these immediate retirements? Braden Lenius just did the same thing before departing to Lions camp. Darian Durant did it with the Bombers. In 90 seconds or less, can you explain why these guys retired just before camp?
Well, there's a couple reasons. One is with Fraser Sopik, it happened to be an injury. With David Cote from Montreal, it was an injury. Tunde Adeleke, I think, again, they feel like their body, as they train to get ready for the season, they can't get their body to the point that it's going to be able to last a CFL season. And that's normally what happens. Sometimes they get offered jobs. Sometimes they get offered jobs in the fire department or whatever. But it's really not, 4 to 5 players across the league retiring the week that they report is not uncommon. That happens quite a bit. Like I say, with the players that did it, I think most of it was physical. Like Frazier, I believe that was a physical situation. I think Tunde was a physical situation. And Cote, I believe that was a physical situation. Braden Lenius has had trouble staying healthy in BC. He retires this week. So again, it is something that's common in the CFL. The problem is when it's Canadian players, you can't go pluck another one. Like a U.S. player, you can just go pluck another one. With a Canadian player, you can't do that. They're not out there. You trade Cam Judge and now you sign Fraser Sopik to be a Canadian starter for you. You back him up with Micah Tights, and now the week you report, he's gone. Now you have Micah Tights. They didn't draft the linebacker. They drafted Nicky Fernaccio in the third or fourth round from University of Montreal, who's a good player, but has been hurt almost his entire career. So is he going to be a guy who can stay healthy? That's a big question mark. So I think they now have a ratio problem. That's what makes the CFL so beautiful. I mean, if an American doesn't show up, it's, like Carter not showing up for Toronto. It's just another, the tragedy there is that you got rid of Daniel Adeboboye, a great Canadian player. Replacing Canadians is the key to winning in the CFL.
Yeah. It's beautiful for guys like you and me to watch now from the outside. Pain in the butt when you're trying to fill a spot from the inside. Okay, Jim, a lot of fun. Thanks for this. Enjoy the ball. We'll see you in a week.
Very good.
The CFL on TSN's Jim Barker, dropping news, breaking news, hot takes. You and me the rest of the way. We'll be right back here on Game Plus TV, streaming live and podcasting wherever the best podcasts are.
Doing more speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Honky Tonk legend Mark Chestnut. Celebrating 35 years of music. Joined by special guest Aaron Goodvin. June 28th at Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit. As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
I'll say this. It's a head-spinning but very exciting time of year. Always is in sports. As we broadcast from Studio 23 here in South Florida. Game time tonight, 7 o'clock. Panthers and Leafs Game 3. I'm going to try to get to a sports update here as much as I can. I just love the spring because of the hockey playoffs. I've told you that I'm into the Centennial Cup. We got a WHL update here. Stanley Cup playoffs. Just for the one sport, I'm excited. But there's all these other sports going on that make it very head-spinning, believe me. And in the fall, we're like 98% of sports fans, or at least my friends, say that's the best. It's all because of football. Like one sport there, really. Yeah, baseball pennant races, but yeah, for me, it's spring, number one. Oh, I apologize. Mark in Burlington writes in. He says, hey, Rod, please ask Jim if he is excited as me about Nathan Rourke and Chad Kelly shooting it out in late August. Hopefully both healthy. Well, okay, so you sent that at 1:25 Eastern. You just heard Jim say that he thinks Chad Kelly's going to start the season on the 6th game. So it kind of sounds to me like Chad Kelly ain't even going to be playing against Nathan Rourke in the first game. How about that?
How about that?
Thanks, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for the positive comments about the interview with Jim Barker. He was fired up. And by the way, before I get into this sports update, there's one thing, well, several interesting things. But with the flag football, that if I had time with Jim, I would have gone back on this. Now that I've been working on the inside with USA Football and have been fortunate to be with the executives of USA Football, nobody really knows how this is going to play out, i.e., will there be NFL players on the field in the Olympics for USA? Will there be NFL, CFL players on the field for Canada at the Olympics? We don't know. You know, I've not talked to Kevin McDonald, the head of Football Canada, but I have talked to Scott Hollandale, the president and CEO of USA Football. He came on my show at Super Bowl. If you watched, you longtime viewers might remember, I put the question to him, will you have NFL players playing for Team USA at the Olympics? And he said, we're going to have tryout camps, and they're welcome to come try out. And if they make the team and they're the best players, they'll be on the field. I think that's the only way that you can do it, because there's a lot of guys. They have a national team. Moose, Serena, and I broadcast the games. It's like back in the 80s, for you old farts like me that can remember, we had a national men's hockey team. They were all, dare I say, amateurs. But the NHLers would come and pollute the rosters for the World Hockey Championships and various, when the Olympics started, those national team members got bumped to the point that we don't have a national team anymore for hockey. If history repeats itself, then the NFL and CFL players will bump the amateurs from the national teams. And that would be the answer. But here's the real fun part of this, that you are all just finally realizing something that we've been on the story for 2, 3, 4 years. What about the injuries? Because Tyreek Hill, Dolphins' biggest star, has come out and said he wants to play in the Olympics. Why wouldn't he? For Team USA. And incidentally, he sponsors a flag football league here in South Florida. He's hugely into it. But would the Dolphins want him in it? Stephen Ross, the owner? The owners don't win. The owners always win. Sorry. If the owners want their players in, they'll get in. If the NFL wants their players, equate it to this. 4 nations face-off. What were all the general managers in the NHL worried about, and probably some owners? Injuries. Charlie McAvoy got hurt. Matthew Tkachuk got hurt, and there's people saying that he's hurt again in these Stanley Cup playoffs, and it all happened at the Four Nations face-off. But guess what? The GMs don't win. They didn't win there. I don't think they're going to win in the football case. If the NFL and CFL wants their players in the Olympics because of marketing purposes, it's going to happen. See you, Randy from Winnipeg. Enjoy your date. We're going to take a timeout. We'll take a timeout and come back with overtime right after this. Okay? And let's get that Progressive Insurance text line rolling. 902-518-3033. We'll be right back here on Game Plus Television. Streaming live and podcasts wherever the best podcasts are found.
From cash spiels to grand slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit. As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Shania Twain.
Let's go, girls.
Live in Moose Jaw. Shania Twain. One incredible show. Live at Temple Garden Center, July 7th. With special guest, Lindsay L. Get tickets Friday, March 21st at 10 a.m. at the Temple Garden Center's box office or sasktix.ca. For more, visit ShaniaTwain.com.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
This is it. Overtime for Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. You're in Calgary for the Centennial Cup. Check them out. where skill and fun collide. Overtime Hockey Lanes. Your hockey season may be over, but hockey season's never over at Overtime Hockey Lanes. How about that one, Randy and Michelle? I came up with that one myself. There's always something fun happening down there. Head on down and tell them the RP Show sent you. We've been great partners now for years. We're so proud to be on board with Overtime Hockey Lanes. Speaking of hockey, I got this email from the CHL. The road to the Memorial Cup starts here. Tonight marks Game 1 of the WHL Championship Series as the Spokane Chiefs visit the Medicine Hat Tigers. Catch every game of the WHL Championship presented by Nutrien live on TSN or stream it through tsn.ca and the TSN app. Saskatchewan Rush in the NLL, home to Halifax, Game 2 of a semifinal at SaskTel Center. Saturday night, flag football, Stanley Cup playoffs. It is a lot to stay on top of, right? Plus Bill Belichick and his girlfriend. There's just a lot to stay abreast on. Heavy Jim Sports Update. The Toronto Maple Leafs look to take a commanding 3-0 lead in their second-round series against the Florida Panthers tonight. The two teams will meet here tonight in Sunrise. The Winnipeg Jets look to bounce back after losing Game 1 of their second-round series with the Dallas Stars. The loss was Winnipeg's first home defeat of the playoffs. Jets will have to find out a way to deal with Mikko Rantanen. Stars forwards got back-to-back Hatties in these playoffs. Checks, notes. I mentioned the Centennial Cup. This is what I keep referring to every day. Can you see it? Just all my chicken scratch. Today, 3 games. Here, I said last hour what happened yesterday at the Centennial Cup in Calgary. Here's what's happening today. Cam River versus Trenton is the first game. Valleyfield, Quebec versus Rockland. And then the night game, Sudbury versus Grand Prairie. All the results are at hockeycanada.ca. The Indiana Pacers face the Cleveland Cavaliers tonight in Game 3 of their NBA second-round playoff series. The Pacers returned home with an unexpected 2-0 lead over the top seed in the East after sweeping the opening games in Denver. In Cleveland. Later, Denver hosts Oklahoma City with that series tied 1-1. The Toronto Blue Jays continue a 6-game road trip tonight when they start a 3-game series with the Mariners in Seattle. Blue Jays beat the Angels 8-5 last night to avoid a sweep in Anaheim. Righty Kevin Gausman scheduled to start for Toronto. Heavy Gym isn't just about lifting weights. It's about lifting your spirit, your strength, and your potential. Step into the gym that's changing lives. Find out more at heavygym.ca. What am I reaching behind me for? My phone. And I'm such a squirrel, I can't really even remember why. So let's update the poll for EMJ Marketing today. This is where we started the whole thing. If this isn't just, this is the perfect microcosm of where we are in the world today and why I'm looking forward to the weekend. It was the breaking news we opened up the show with. And I wrote this, okay? So if it sounds beautiful, that's why. ESPN's award-winning reporter Pablo Torres in New York reported Bill Belichick's 24-year-old girlfriend, Jordan Hudson, has been banned from the University of North Carolina football facilities. That set the social media and football worlds ablaze. It has also prompted the University of North Carolina to issue a statement Friday morning that the report from Pablo Torres is false and that Jordan Hudson has not been banned from their football facilities. As a matter of fact, she's more than welcome. Quite a start to a Friday, isn't it? That story aside, which I'll come back on, but the poll question is she going to ruin Bill Belichick's legacy? Is she going to destroy it? For EMJ Marketing, 57% of you on Twitter are saying, yeah, she's going to destroy it. Do you have an update on YouTube, Clark? What are they saying on YouTube? It's Bryce filling in for Clark. 69% say no. Average them out, and it's like 50-50. Okay, that's why I was reaching for my phone. Okay, thank you. So I had a football guy. I won't name you. Oh, I know who you are. I know. He texted his name. I got you saved in my phone, so I know who you are, and I am not going to divulge who it is. But he has texted me regarding the interview with Jim Barker and the suspension of Zach Caleros, the face of the CFL. Like, if it's not Zach, Who is the face of the CFL? Suspended for a game for failing to return messages from the doping agency. My friend texts me and says, the point is, did Zach test? And if so, what were the results? Here's what I would say to you and everybody else. Ask the insiders. I don't go poking around. What I've learned lately is if you're not told, don't ask. Don't make problems. You got insiders getting paid great dough to cover that league. Go ask them and then tell me what they say, okay? It's like Pablo Torres is like the latest, greatest thing on ESPN. How do I know who he is? Because I watch Pardon the Interruption every day. It's my favorite show. And if it's not Tony Kornheiser and Mike Wilbon on there, Pablo Torres is replacing one of the two. He's the latest and greatest thing. And he broke the story that Jordan Hudson's been banned from UNC's facilities, Bill Belichick's girlfriend. Oh, wait a minute. No, she hasn't. What discipline is he going to face? He's the top hotshot at ESPN. He's got different rules, Rod. Just trying to figure out where we stand on all this. We want to know, what were the results of Zach's test if he took one? Ask the insiders. Nelson, he's coming in hot. He says, did Bill Belichick destroy his name when he cheated multiple times? Deflate gate, tape gate, spy gate. Well, that's That's a topic for another time that maybe I'll put in my weekend newsletter, which you can get for free if you sign up at rodpeterson.com. Hall of Fames, like is Bill Belichick getting in the Hall of... No. Nor is Robert Kraft. The best owner in NFL history. He's not going to get in because he's attracted unwanted attention to the National Football League. Hall of Fame worthy guys and gals aren't getting into Halls of Fame anymore because of the political cancel culture crowd. Trust me, I've counseled many of them. Why am I not in the Hall of Fame, Rod? I deserve to be. You know that, and I know that, but we can't control that. So just be happy that you had a Hall of Fame career. Yeah, but it sucks. Life sucks. Wear a helmet. Enjoy the weekend, everybody. Woosa. See you Monday, noon Eastern, right here.
Woo, that's sexy.